Because we have two different shapes. But, you know, what I perhaps, you know, can look beautiful in somebody else is like, whoa, that is too tight around your hips. You know what I mean? So you have to, as a woman, know your own body. You gotta know, and ladies, we need to start wearing the right bra. Somebody say amen. I'm tired of seeing headlights. I'm tired. And the brothers are as well. I'm just trying to protect somebody, you know. This is very important. We're laughing, but somebody please hear me. Tasteful. It's important to know what looks fabulous on you, and then it's important to also, you know, when you really care about whoever that young man is, you have to be considerate of the fact that, help me out brothers, men are stimulated by sight. And then I had a friend of mine in Cleveland say, nah, men stimulated by everything. So, but number one, primarily, it is sight. And so if I know sensory-wise, the man is going to be first and foremost stimulated by what he sees, and if I'm really caring about that individual, of course I would like to look attractive and be tasteful, but like, I don't want to cause anybody to stumble, and I don't want to cause anybody to sin, and I don't want to cause somebody to, you know, for both of us to be uncomfortable, like, well, geez, you know, you came here naked, I'm not going to get it. See? I mean, but see, that's being real, that's being honest. And, oh God, I'm gonna reveal something now, but what's his name? Who's that comedian we like? I talk to my family. Dave Chappelle's crazy self. Dave Chappelle put a really good nugget out there one time, and he said, and I thought about it, I was like, you know, I wear doctor's attire. When I wear scrubs, you assume that I'm a doctor. You see the policeman on the street, you assume that they are an officer of the law. So Dave Chappelle's big thing was, you know, he saw a girl, how she was dressed in the club, and he assumed she was a hoe. And so he said, but you got on hoe's attire. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, policemen is dressed like police officers, doctors, you know, you got on that attire. So it's like, we're going to be, you know, addressed by the way that we're dressed, ladies. And so that's just my piece. I know, I'm gonna let the brothers speak.
Now, you know that I love her to my left, but I'm gonna take one small exception with what Dr. Marsh just said, because just to stay consistent. She talked about processing the way you choose to dress based on what a man sees first, and I think that that's a problematic way to approach it, because it is putting what someone else is thinking and allowing what you believe they're thinking to affect the choices that you make. I would like for you to step even further back from that and decide what makes you feel better as you, not even thinking about what a man may think of what you're wearing or not. Because at the end of the day, the man that is for you will love you when you love yourself the most. So therefore, you leave the male perspective out of the equation when you choose the way you dress. The only perspective you use is when you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, for the right reasons, does this make me feel better about myself? Because there's nothing wrong with looking good. But the question is, why do you want to look a certain way? So that's, I want to, again, peel the onion back, get to the root, okay?
Bill, I was going to peel the onion back, but I had to say that first so you could say what you were going to say. I am in full agreement.
But Dr. Marsh actually used the word hoe, okay? And this is actually a word, as we kind of transition, this is a word that's used often in some of our culture. We use the B word, hoe, the N word. We have here prominent in the hip hop community. And so I guess the question is, does this impact our young men and our young women? We've talked about media, we've talked about dressing. And I would almost emphatically say yes, but I would like to hear what you all think about how do these words and how are these images impacting our young people.
I think what you're talking about is the significance of language. And as you deal with the significance of language, I think you have to deal with the purpose behind certain things. And a lot of times when you're referring to someone as a female dog or a garden tool, it ends up doing... Hey. My mom will watch this tape. I ain't saying the word. I mean, run for office one day. I ain't saying the word. Shut up.
It's all good time out of the election. So.
But what you have to think about is that a lot of times what we have been able to do, and what the enemy's trick is, dates back actually to slavery and even before. And if you look at the great deviousness of slavery within the United States was it was called chattel slavery. That it wasn't just enslaving a person, but you made them your property. You made them an object. When you objectify something, then you do not have to really worry, but nobody cares that I moved this here. Nobody cares that I moved this here. Nobody cares if I pop the top because it's an object. It has no feeling, it has no soul. And when you objectify something, then you are able then to be able to do whatever you want with it with no problem. The challenge when we call sisters out of their name is that we have learned through media to objectify our sisters and our brothers. We objectify sisters and we make brothers subjects and characters. And so in doing that, it makes it easy for people to do whatever they want to when you're an object. And so that's the challenge of even the way you dress, because you have to ask yourself, why am I wearing what I'm wearing? And a lot of times the answer is because I want to be a sexual object. I want people to look at me because I've been taught that as a sister I need to dress a certain way, and that makes me sexy and that makes me desirable as an object. But as long as you play yourself as an object, then you can't get upset when people treat you any old way because they're treating you as an object. And so we have to be very careful in our language, because what happens is when we allow certain language to go forward, then literally we raise up a generation that's used to being objectified. It used to be a time in the black community that if you called a sister a female dog, it was on. That you could call them all kinds of different stuff. You could talk about their mama, you could talk about their cousin, you could talk about how their feet was jacked up, you could talk about all kinds of different stuff. You called her anything close to it. If you said just the first letter, you called her a B, and it was over. She would fight you and fight you and fight you, and then get up and fight you some more. Am I right? But we've gotten to a place in which we've normalized through language the use and objectification of our sisters, and so now it becomes normal, and we have a generation who just takes it, and it's no big thing, and they call each other it and answer to it, because now they're used to being what? Objects. And so we get surprised when the domestic abuse stuff is going up, and folks are so used to being beaten on and mistreated, those kinds of folks, but we've raised a culture in which gentlemen look at women as objects and treat them that way, and then we've raised young sisters to respond as objects and not feel that they're worth being valued. Go ahead.
I know you guys are wondering, wow, that was